So I'm going to be explaining exactly how you should warm up for your Olympic lifting in 7 steps. Now I'm going to break down what these look like, some of the movements you can involve during this, and how long it should roughly take, and the sort of things you should be feeling. So, number 1, stretch. Okay, there's this big thing at the moment where people are saying stretching is going to absolutely kill your gains and actually reduces power output. It's a load of bollocks. Why do you see all elite level lifters doing that? Like all the Olympic lifters, the Chinese, the Bulgarians, Americans, all, like every single one, they're all stretching, and they stretch 4 or 5 times a day excessively. They're pretty strong. Okay, stretching isn't going to kill you, and for a lot of you where you lack that mobility, you aren't held back because of your strength, you're actually held back because of your mobility. So stretching can massively help this. So the way I would roughly do your stretching is 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, doesn't have to be excessive. If you have more time, do a little bit more. I prefer to do dynamic stuff. So for example, there's a drill where you can roll onto your back, and then as you come forwards, your legs go wide, you reach forwards. Stuff like that. Dynamic work is really helpful for me. It makes me feel like I'm firing things up and I'm getting ready to lift fast and heavy. However, static works okay. Now, I always think when you're doing your stretching, you should make it really specific. So find yourself in the positions you're going to be in. So work like this, which kind of goes into the second thing of specific mobility work. We want things to be really specific to what we're actually doing in the lift. So our session could be snatches. So for this, we want to get loose in the squat position. We want to open up our lats a little bit. These things can be helpful. So if you got snatches, stretch off your lats. Use a band. Really, really get in there. Get things loose, and that overhead position is going to feel amazing. Now, stretching is probably the thing I remove first if I'm short on time for my sessions. However, if you have got time, can be really, really useful. So some specific mobility. Now, what I mean by this is, I mean stuff, like I just said with the stretching, is specific to what you're about to do. So let's use snatches for an example. You've got the overhead position, you've got the squat, you've got all that needed and the mobility specific for that. So, ankles, thoracic mobility, shoulder mobility, hips, all of these things we need to warm up specifically. So stuff like SOTS pressing. SOTS pressing in the snatch grip is really specific to what you're going to be doing. So sat in the bottom of the squat with your snatch grip, with the bar, loading up. We want things on our mobility to be loaded because we can progress this really, really easily. So another drill I do to sort of mobilize my ankles a little bit is I'll put the bar across my knees and I'll be in a squat position. Now I'll load that up with tens and really find some excessive movement to loosen me up. So we want the mobility to be loaded. And this is usually the order I will do this in. Okay, like I said, this will get sacked off if I don't have time, but I'll always go through a little bit of specific mobility. Now, the next thing I want to see, and you should be doing, is plyometrics. So this is what's going to get you firing. And a lot of the time, the easy way to explain it is it's just kind of jumping. Lots of jumps, lots of different variations of that. Now, with your plyometrics, we're just kind of loading up the stretch reflex. So getting the muscles firing and getting ourselves in a really good position. So you've got stuff like pogo jumps, broad jumps, box jumps, whatever variation suits you and whatever gets you firing can be super helpful. But again, we do want to see a little bit of progression in them. So if for a couple of weeks in your warm-ups, your plyos have been 3x3 at a 20-inch box for your plyometrics, use that. Okay, that can be really, really helpful. The next week, we want to see that at 24-inch box, 30, so on and so on and so on. Okay, so try and progress these because these can be helpful. So record the distance you're getting on your broad jumps because we can progress these and they'll transfer even more over to your lifting. Okay, so get some plyometrics in there, use these. We don't want to be doing loads of high reps. We don't want to fuck ourselves up. Okay, so don't do too much when it comes to your plyometrics. We're just getting things firing. We don't need really high numbers in our sets. 3 threes, 2 fives, all of that sort of stuff. It can be really, really short and simple. Okay, now bar warm up. This is just to pretty much warm up the muscles we're about to use. And again, we want it to be quite specific to the lifts. Okay, so for example, you've got snatches. We've been doing snatches, so we'll use this. Okay, snatch grip, upright rows. You're then going to go snatch grip, pulls from the hip. You're going to do snatch grip, deadlift. Now, these aren't like specific primers, so what we'll go on to in terms of like priming the technique, but it's getting everything firing in the exact position we're going to need things to be firing, so the exact muscles we're using. So when we're warming up these pulls, we're getting our shoulders firing, we're getting our traps firing, all of the things we're going to use when we're going to go into that lift going forwards. So these sort of things can be really helpful. Now, I keep these normally very, very simple. So I choose 3 to 5 movements. And this is probably the fastest one for me because you can get very warm with these when you do 1 or 2 sets. 1 set of anywhere from 5 to 15 reps. Okay, I know that's quite broad. Depends how much time I have. Depends how warm I'm feeling. If it's in the summer, probably a lot less because I'm warm very, very fast. Whereas in the winter, might do more like 15 reps because it takes you almost a session just to get warm. Okay, so these are the drills we want to do. We're just getting things firing again. Okay, now when it comes to your bar drills, these are priming your technique, which is kind of the same. These two kind of fall into each other. All right, so the bar drills, what we're going to do is we're going to put them on the same thing because the bar drills and the primer is the same thing. So the bar drill usually for me is empty bar, and it's just going through the motions. So you got, again, we'll go for snatches, you've got overhead squats, you got some snatch receives, tool snatches, all of these sort of things, okay? However, this is normally empty bar work, okay? I would say your bar drills are, but you do want to go into a primer. Now, this is what your coach should be giving you. So say, for example, my client struggles with hip extension in the snatch. What they're going to have as their primer is somewhere 2 to 3 sets of 3 to 5 reps at 30 to 40%, nothing too crazy, for hip snatches. So it's pretty much where they're just going to dip and extend at the hip whilst they're doing their lifts. Okay, so this is going to be super helpful because the issue they have with their lift, they're actually attacking that during the warm-up. Okay, which is really, really helpful. So you'll have your bar drills where it's empty barbell work. You're warming up the muscles. You're kind of going through the motions of the snatch. So you've got some tool snatches where you come onto your toes, put yourself under the bar. But these are all attacking this specific issue, hip extensions. So when you get to this bit, the bar drills and the primer, it should be specific to the thing you struggle with in the lift. So another example could be my client struggles getting under the bar. Now, what they can do here is they might have something like, same thing, 2 to 3 sets of 3 to 5 reps, again, at 30 to 40%. Let me write that in. And they're going to be doing snatch balance. They might have something like tool snatch. So where they have a really slow pull, start at the hip, and then just pulling themselves straight under. And then once they've done that, they'll re-wrap the bar on their back and do a snatch balance. And that snatch balance is there to force them under the bar and get comfy in that bottom position. And if I was getting really fancy, I could even do 3-second pause in the catch position. So in that bottom position of the overhead squat. Now this is really specific to that person and what they struggle with and should be what you're doing. Okay. And from here, this, if you're fast, we can break it down. Okay. So stretch, 5 minutes. Okay. That specific mobility can also be anywhere from, say, 3 to 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be loads. You can just choose one specific movement, okay? And you can kind of circuit around a few things. So we're about, let's say, 8 minutes, okay? Again, this can take 2 minutes. If you have 2-3 sets, it doesn't have to take too long. A little bit of rest in between. We're at 10 minutes. And then these two, bar warm up, that's about 2 minutes of work, or about 12 minutes. Then we're probably about 15 to 17 minutes. This can be really short, and like I said, if you're short on time, I'd probably take out the first two things and keep in the plyos, the bar warm up, the bar drills, and the primers. So sack off the first two if you're short on time, but this can really be done in about 15 minutes or so. I get mine done within that time because I don't have time to do loads and loads and loads of warm-ups, and I also don't really want to as well. If I was going into a more specific weightlifting block, I'd probably spend more time doing this, but because I'm in a CrossFit specific block at the moment, I've got more things to focus on. But this can be done in a good time. So within this, you've got, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes on your warm-up. You've then got 15 to 20 minutes on your lifting. So we're at now like 30 to 45 minutes or so. And then you've got 15 minutes to do some accessories for your lifting or a workout. Okay, there's still time to do this within your hour period. And again, we can shorten that even more if we've only got 30 to 40 minutes of work. So this is exactly how you should be warming up for your lifts, and use this and it should help you out.